All right.
You guys are pretty cute there with the whole do we need to prepare for topics thing. Do we ever prepare?
I was actually talking about next week's guest because it's a surprise. He's not telling me who it is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, preparation is for fucking pussies.
That's me.
I'm just going to say pussy cunt, faggot all night and we're good.
We're calling PFCs now.
Just fucking, all right there. This is the pre-show. What?
No. By the way, my wife is, as we speak, Dominic, making that shirt. As we speak.
Pussy faggot cunt.
Pussy faggot cunt. I will gladly purchase that and wear it. All right.
Oh, you get one for free. For free.
I don't fit in a medium anymore. I got to buy a large because my friggin' fat ass. All right, this is the Rants of Izzo pre-show here on Spreely TV. Good afternoon, Wednesday. Hey, appreciate you guys giving us the day off. Well, 2 days off. Monday, which was a holiday, and Tuesday, which was took my aunt to the eye doctor. Then we go to breakfast afterwards, and oh my God, I had a insulin coma crash the size of Montana. And when I got, I'm like, no, I'm not. I can't do this. Whatever. So the name of the game now is Izzo peeing right now, or is he? What is he doing? Why don't we see him on screen? Because I haven't hit the button yet. Anyways, it's Wednesday. We love when you guys join us. And this is the Burn Pit Podcast boys. Let's see over in the chat. We have a chat for those who are new, if you will. Bev, good to see you. How are you, Bev? I can't freaking wait. Love Wednesday shows. Kate Bergner. Where's everybody else at today? April Schoen will be in here. I know Rachel's got a meeting at 10. She can't make it and all that. All right, kids, let's do the breakdown. The pre-show is just warming up for the show. That's it. It's a chance to kind of break out of the introversion I spend all day where I don't talk to anybody. Like between 1 p.m. Central, my time in Chicago, and then noon the next day, I don't talk to anybody if I have to. So once I'm like, all right, I got to talk again. This is the warm-up. That's all this is. Do not forget to support all the awesome stuff that we do here on Spreely TV, like the Burn Pit Podcast, which is Mondays at 4 p.m. Eastern. Without giving it away, Scott and Matt, what do you guys got coming up for this Monday?
This Monday, as a friend of the show, he's a like-minded individual. That's all the hints I'm giving Matt. It's a surprise.
I like surprises. Make sure you also check out the Shannon Joy Show, Report and Opine, Pete Santilli's show. We've got evening rants. We have a bunch of stuff on Spreely TV. Also, listen, I made a vow to do this more. I sit on gold. I never talk about the other company I'm with and all this kind of stuff. So I'm going to start promoting this more. Kids, if you have a problem shitting, or if you're an aged man and you don't understand the importance of vasodilation to get an erection, trust me, testosterone alone does not help it. Or you want your kids to get more healthy food for free in their content, shoot me a text, 708-982-0974. I won't associate the product that I'm with on the show because they don't want that. So there you go. Let's have a show.
Prepare yourself.
The opinions of the host and guests on the show are exclusively just that, opinions. That means that they shouldn't be the cause of your state of being offended. Why does everybody get so butthurt?
Okay, let's go. Ready, go!
Sit down, shut up, and pay attention.
Damn!
This is the RantsOfIzzo Show with your host, Dominic Izzo, from porn to politics. We touch every third rail we can find. You might want to put your headphones on so your mom can't hear this. It's been called the most entertaining 60 minutes on the internet, and it starts now. Let's do this.
Good goddamn afternoon on Wednesday here on the RantsOfIzzo Show. Wait a second, did he just take the Lord's name in vain? He doesn't say it. No, I didn't, because God isn't his name. So if I'm going to put an expletive on something and give an awesome welcome, I say a good goddamn welcome, you faggots, here on the Rants of Izzo show, where we do say whatever the hell we want. And if you're offended by that statement, you're clearly a faggot who can email Chelsea at HR. It is Wednesday. It's a Burn Pit podcast. Boys, join me on Wednesday. I don't want to talk about Jews today. I know that's going to disappoint our audience. I kind of want to go a different direction.
Matt's leaving. Matt's out of here.
Well, here's the rub. I don't want to talk about Jews unless the problem that I proposed today, Matt, which I have a feeling 17 degrees of Kevin Bacon, he can connect it and blame the Jews for this problem. So that might be the ultimate kind of like, why did we have to go to Pastor?
I think it's just 1 degree, to be honest. Just kidding.
Oh, my God. All right. So one of the biggest news today is the alleged Venezuelan gang members that are taking over Colorado cities. And there's a lot of different angles I want to look at this. As always, if anybody is watching live and you guys want to call in and talk to Matt and Scott, you guys can. And if you're listening on a podcast version, like, shit, I don't want to miss the live shows. The phones are always open, 708-982-0974. No, I don't know if you guys saw this. I watched it. Videos went around, and I'm going, personally, I think this is a distraction from, they're trying to create a problem. It's like the school shootings that always happen whenever something happens, or whenever a political year comes in. But then I'm like, you know what? No, we knew this would kind of happen, allegedly. Then they started releasing supposed audio of Chicago police and dispatchers saying that there's a problem, obviously, on MLK Drive, I believe it was. And it took cops an hour to respond because I think there's 8,000 active police officers, but they're all fucking understaffed and shit. And so we have this legitimate problem. And for those who don't know, whose head has been kind of in the sand last couple of days, this is apparently the statement from the chief of police in Colorado, the Aurora Police Department. Now, gentlemen, do you happen to recall any other significant event that happened in Aurora that may have been cultural changing for us?
I think it was shoot, correct?
Oh, okay.
Oh, you guys' audio is going to be fucking up today. It's not Mercury retrograde either.
Is it?
No, you guys are cutting
bad?
in. No, you're cutting in and out. Yeah, you're just cutting in and out a little bit. But go ahead, kind of say that again.
Yeah, it was the Aurora shooting was in a theater, I believe.
Right.
And it was where a gentleman went in a gun-free zone and went to a theater and shot up a theater. It was during, I believe, a showing of Batman.
Oh, yeah. So do we think that views have changed in that hustling and bustling city where the citizens are like, you know what, these gun laws probably don't work that well, so we should embrace our Second Amendment? Do you think that's probably the case?
I honestly don't know, but I think they got worse and more restrictive. I don't think they got more lenient on gun laws. I don't know, though.
Okay. All right.
The citizens, though, the citizens, I doubt, changed their views in that area about gun laws, gun restriction, because Matt said, too, Columbine was a big thing as well right there, and it's close in that area. For whatever reason, Denver is Midwest, you could say, but there's some cowboys out there, but that state always goes very blue. And they were one of the first states to be lax on the restrictions with marijuana, mushrooms, things like that. It's a very liberal state, even though it's a very country state as well. You have a lot of, like I said, cowboys out that way. So it's interesting to see that state isn't pro-red when it comes to at least the Second Amendment.
Yep. All right, so this is a statement by the Aurora Chief of Police, said that the trend, not the trend we like,
Trend
not that kind of trend bologna sandwich. Trend de Araguay, a Venezuelan gang, has, quote, not taken over an apartment after a video went viral of armed men entering the residence unit complex. For reference, I'm going to play this video so that we can feel better about the chief's decision or to make this kind of statement. So let's just watch this video together here. This is from a door ring camera on a unit. guess the music is unnecessary. And it shows alleged members of the Tren del Aragüey TDA, Venezuelan gang, were captured on a security camera. It's one of those Ring doorbells. Cell phone, this makes me think it's kind of coordinated. Long guns and a handgun. There was a shootout shortly after that sounded like a warfare, residents said. You can see I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 men on one position. Some of the residents are moving over growing fears of the Venezuelan gang activity. Here's police going. This is called canvassing. The Aurora Police Department created a special task force to address the TDA gang and other crimes affiliating migrant communities. Yeah, you got 5 coppers outside. The district attorney's office will issue the emergency court order to clear the properties where the gang violent. Oh, there you go, because they're going to honor. They're going to honor that. That's kind of a good thing. All right, so we clearly saw a video, and thieves aren't breathing down your neck. For those who always get my reference of the Great Muppet Caper, a gang is not running Colorado apartment complex, and tenants are not paying its members rent money. Police said, despite the speculation after the public images of men carrying weapons at the building went viral. The edge at the Lowry Apartments in Aurora, Colorado, has not been taken over by gang members. Interim police chief, Interim police chief Heather Morris stated in a video. Do we want to guess what Heather's gender is?
How dare we even guess?
Yeah.
How dare we?
What are you, a racist?
You're a homophobe.
Yeah, because women belong in law enforcement as much as I belong. I belong everywhere except for fucking, I don't have an analogy. We've been talking to the residents here and learning from them to find out what exactly is going on. And there's definitely a different picture, Morris said in the video. I'm not saying that there's not gang members that don't live in this community. Fucking dumb broad has no business in law enforcement. Paying people rent to the gang members is also not happening, according to Morris, which is the foundation of gang activity. Just ask the Cosa Nostra or the mob, and they extort their own people. They pay for protection. We really believe that they're sincere with us, the inner police chief said about the tenants of the apartment. This is the same type of person who's a woman who believes just the tip. Anyways, this is going to go on and on and on. Gents, what say you? Do you have any insight to this information? Because the follow-up question is going to be, what would we do if it happened by us?
Well, I'm not understanding here. I mean, people said that they have taken over the apartment complex. And then you're telling me the police said that is false?
Mm-hmm. A woman police.
So who's telling the truth and who isn't?
Well, we know women lie, so I don't know.
Well, my point is, I mean, who were those guys with the guns on the ring cam? Who were those individuals? Does anybody know who those individuals were? And you said there was a shootout. So what became of that shootout? Do we know?
Well, apparently there was
I'm looking up.
Thing.
Yeah, I'm looking at a lot of articles here, Matt, and you can see right there that a lot of the articles coming out today, USA Today, Denver Post, they're denying all of it. They're denying it.
Well, who specifically is denying it?
Well, you have the mayor. The mayor here has come out and said that that's not the case. There's some residents that have been interviewed that say that's not the case.
Okay.
But you're absolutely right. Are our eyes lying to us? What was on the Ring doorbell recording? Obviously, you know what? I think they're just not reading the signs. It's a gun-free zone. They just have to obey the signs that they put up. Those work, right? The gun-free zone signs?
Yeah.
Those work. Yeah, Matt, I would say, Dominic, I would say that this is not a great look. Obviously, for the city there in Aurora, the state of Colorado, and the country as a whole, you have a real problem we've been dealing with for decades, where we have these illegal migrants coming over that are unidentified. Most of them are criminals, and they're coming here looking to take advantage of our laws, our Constitution, and our freedoms, and our entitlement programs, and blah, 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 blah. And this is going to happen everywhere. It's going to happen in a city near you at some point here, unless the problem is dealt with. Mm-hmm. Now, how do you deal with something like that? Let's say, Matt, you're in Washington County here in Pennsylvania, let's say there was an apartment building being taken over by a Venezuelan gang, a Mexican cartel. What would you do about this?
I would gather as many people together that were like-minded individuals with me, very well trained, who is equipped and armed to the same capacity that I am. And then I would shoot all these people in the face because the cops apparently aren't doing anything about it. There was armed men. We don't know who they were. Armed men in the apartment complex. There was a shootout.
Right.
Okay.
What became of that? We don't know.
Right.
That's not going to be reported.
Now, if let's just say this is true. Let's just say the armed gangs are there. The police are denying it, right? But whatever. Let's just say they do exist and they're causing a bunch of problems within the community, whether it's robbery, rape, murder, whatever. If the police refuse to do anything about it, which we know they have, collectively speaking, across the whole country,
they're going to follow their marching orders.
That's correct.
No matter what, because they don't want to lose their pension. They don't want to lose any of their benefits.
They want the shekels.
They want the shekels.
Okay, so that if that's the case, there's only one course of action, and that is the citizens to stand up and form armed gangs of men to resist this illegal invasion
called militias.
Correct. And if the police get involved and take the side of the illegal migrants, which we know they already have in multiple cities, to where they escort them through on the buses as they did in New York City, while they kicked out even Korean War veterans from old folks' homes because they decided to give these facilities to the illegal immigrants. Again, I've said it before. This is a clear violation of U.S. Law Code Title 8, Section 1324, aiding and abetting illegal immigrants or supporting illegal immigration in any possible way. That goes to the mayor, the police, anybody who gives them benefits. It's a fucking felony offense under federal U.S. Law Code. That being said, under Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution, you must, as government, protect from foreign invasion and domestic violence. They're doing none of this. Every motherfucker within the government that is facilitating this or doing nothing about it is breaking the law, violating the Constitution, violating the U.S. Law Code. The citizens must stand up by implementation of the Second Amendment. I'm done.
What kills me with this is you can literally, it's all about, I say this nonstop, it's all about articulation when it comes down to law enforcement. And I clearly, anybody who follows my content knows I hate people who lick the boots. I can't stand when, I just showed a video the other day of a mouthy teenager or a minor, whatever he was, in a parking lot in Florida, gets body slammed by a cop who's like 7 inches bigger than him, outweighs him by 50 pounds. And you got the entire crowd going, well, the kid needed to be taught a lesson. Fuck around and find out. And I criticize against that. But here you have what can be easily articulated as what we like to call an exigent circumstance. Now, in that circumstance, for those who are not trained, that means that, you know, you've got a residence and it's your home. You own the home, for whatever the bank lets you own it for. And can I get in your home if I want to get inside? Well, I have to come up with a lawful reason, mostly a warrant. Yeah, not even real probable cause you get me in there. A lot of the times it has to be a warrant. But if I've got this gorgeous thing called exigent circumstances, I can kick your motherfucking door in and I can own your home until I determine that it's clear and there's no threat. You have all these big, bad, tattooed, bearded cops out there who want to play tough guy on Instagram and TikTok and all this shit. Here's their opportunity. Gunfire, visual fucking proof of people walking around with long guns and pistols. And you go door-to-door knocking? Door-to-door knocking. See, I'm in agreeance. And I don't know if you guys feel this way. And sometimes I think it's going to get me in trouble. You ever go, man, why can't that happen to me? And it's like you wait. Like, yeah. I wish to God, I love my neighbors. Like, I have the greatest fucking neighbors on the planet. And sometimes I'm like, man, I wish to God that family would be in threat. I would be, fuck 911. I am going in a blaze of glory, like Ripley from Aliens with a flamethrower and a assault rifle on me at the same time. I'm disappointed in the police, and I'm more disappointed in the citizens. And people don't get the concept of gang members. They are the most brutal, ruthless, fucking savages on the planet. And what I want to talk to you guys about is the real threat of this happening, because Scott, you bring this up. Matt, you bring this up. People aren't going to do anything. We always talk about conservatives not doing anything. These gang members are very well organized. Very well organized. And they understand hierarchy and all of this. Do you guys think this is a legitimate threat that is coming to the nation?
100%. And it's funny because they only go after people who are white supremacists or white nationalists. They're the number one threat, according to Merrick Garland. Ring the bell. He's the Attorney General of the United States. He said white supremacy is the number one problem and the number one threat to the United States. And this is the United States Attorney General. Now, that being said, what happens to you, Dominic, if you run over or do burnouts on a fag flag that's on the ground, a rainbow flag, and you do a burnout? They fucking come and arrest you by force just for doing a burnout on a fag flag on the road. And now you have armed gangs of men and they're not doing shit? Are you fucking kidding me? It goes to show that the government literally hates the average citizen. They literally fucking hate you. And I don't know why people keep submitting in fear to the government, because they have armed gangs of men called law enforcement agents. Collectively speaking, law enforcement, everybody, is not on your side. And they become increasingly not on your side. They become increasingly against you and everything that stands in the Constitution. It's going to come to a certain point where, and I hate to say this, they're going to fuck with the wrong person in the wrong area on the wrong day, and shit's going to hit the fan.
Are they? Because that hasn't happened yet. I've been waiting for that to fucking happen forever.
It's just a matter of time. I'm not saying that he's going to be successful, but somebody's not going to.
We did see that. We saw that in the guy who was in the subway, and a former military guy. I'm embarrassed for not remembering his name. Put him in a chokehold.
Danny.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar with that.
What
case.
was his name?
But he was a former Marine, actually.
Yeah, Dan.
Yep.
Somebody.
Yeah, he choked the guy out. He applied a rear naked choke, and he held it a little too long, killed the guy.
Good.
Yeah, right. That's good. But again, he's going to face, he's facing criminal prosecution as we speak, though. I mean, that's the shame of it, is you have people. To answer your question, Dominic, this is a problem, and it's going to be a problem in more cities. It's going to pop up along the way. Now, we saw here that there were some videos out there that the Hells Angels and the Mongols are headed that way to try and clean things up. Our friend Ian Smith, who's a friend of all of ours, he said, the Hells Angels and the Mongols, they're not going to advertise what they're going to do. They're not going to plan that. Guys that are organized, militias, they move in secret, they move in silent. And so if they are headed up that way, great. And if citizens want to take matters into their own hands, I support that 100%. I think citizens should, because law enforcement is not going to. Law enforcement will get their marching orders from their command staff. The command staff obviously gets their marching orders from political officials in the top of their cities, and then the political officials at the top of their cities get their marching orders from who knows who, the DNC, different, whether it's Attorney General, whatever, to stand down, to not address the situation or address it very lightly. For whatever reason, the politicians of our time today seem to favor these illegal migrants over U.S. citizens. Yep. I don't know why. I don't understand. I don't know if anyone can explain that to me. I don't think anyone has been able to articulate a reason why.
I do. I have a legitimate reason. I really do. I think that and I'm going to go back to the structure. We dealt with gang members up by us, right? So Chicago chased out and Milwaukee chased out Latin Kings, Sereno 13s. And they were little shitheads, and mostly it was the 15, 16-year-olds, and they were really organized. We had an El Rukin. Oh my God, we had an El Rukin. The guy was probably 60. That was cool. When we dealt with the outlaws too. Outlaws were probably the fucking nicest guys I've ever met, dude. You stop them, talk to them on their bikes, and as long as you showed them respect, you got nothing from them. But I noticed that when it came down to the Mexican gangs, you had a bigger hierarchy. right? And it versus the black gangs. Black gangs had a tactic. All of them in swarms and then disperse like cockroaches. You can't fucking chase them. It's like we always there's a rule of thumb. If it's a white guy you're chasing, stop wherever you're at and look around in a 50-yard area because he's hiding. If it's a black guy, try to identify him, get a warrant because he's not stopping. And that held true every single time I was on a foot pursuit. But when it comes down to the Hispanic gangs, their structure was superb. They didn't say shit when you separated them. They kept their mouths shut. They never ratted on each other. You could fold over white guys so easy. Black guys would rat on each other. But the Hispanic gangs didn't. They were the ones that, if you separated them, they acted just as tough individually as they did together. Their organization where they hid guns, all this kind of shit. So I have to wonder if your government is doing that because those who are the higher ups, the one who really run the gangs, and I guess over the years you've seen like it's really business people and fucking shit who are in prominent positions of society that are running these gangs. Do they have control over enough of them to where they're a makeshift army that will do what they told if they're financially funded? So can you imagine the U.S. government saying, hey, listen, yeah, you guys are looking for a new place to take over? Fucking, we're going to give you Aurora, Colorado. Come on in, do your thing, and the dust will settle after 5 years of chaos and all this shit. We'll fund money in there. You can have your own sect over there. I think they're more controllable for the dollar than other issues are.
It is a business. When you look at these Mexican cartels, they do operate like a business because they're dealing with sex trafficking. They're dealing with drugs. Yeah. They're dealing with firearms. You're dealing with all this stuff. And it is a hierarchy to things. And they do have a code, whether you think they do or not. There's a code by which they operate. A lot of these gangs in Chicago, LA, these black gangs, they're a little bit more disorganized. These cartels operate with a code. They operate with a structure. They operate with a hierarchy, a chain of command, if you will. And they follow through with it. And they follow through with it. They are very well organized. Matt?
And they bribe government officials as well. And if this happens in Aurora, Colorado, I mean, do you know who the governor of Aurora, Colorado is, Dominic?
I do not.
Okay, Scott?
I do know.
Jared
is he a Polish?
Real last name is Schultz.
Oh, so he switched it to Greek.
First, hold on.
You thought it wouldn't happen, Dominic? You were wrong.
Oh, no, I knew
Matt can do anything he wants when it comes to this.
17 degrees, Dominic. You are so far off. So he is of a certain ethnicity, and he's the first governor of Colorado that was elected as a same-sex marriage governor.
How about that?
Which means he is also a faggot. So, and I don't want to talk about this. I'm not going to, but I have to bring it up because it's every Berg Singlestein Timowitz. The person ends up being that. So, here's what happens. I agree with everything you said, Dominic. You're saying they're financed and all these things, and they are, and all these gangs are financed in some capacity. But again, you have to have the government officials who are in charge of enforcing the law. You have to have them in compliance with it. They have to be working in concert with these gangs. Otherwise, they'd be gone. Any governor or attorney general or even sheriff or mayor, they would simply come out and be like, oh, there's gangs, there's gang violence, there's sex trafficking, there's drugs. Get them out of here. I'm arresting or shooting them. It'd be that simple. It's that simple. But somebody like me who says that is an extremist. Now I'm the extremist for pointing out that these people should be fucking killed or imprisoned because they're not even legal citizens.
How about deported?
Well, again, you still have to use violence in order to deport them.
Right.
But I agree with you. But it doesn't matter. They'll just come right back.
Right.
And if these people are involved in sex trafficking, rape, murder, they have to just go. They just have to be eliminated. They have to be liquidated.
This is the melting pot, man.
Yeah. Who wrote that play, The Melting Pot, that story?
What's her name?
Israel Zingwell was a guy.
Oh, well, yeah. What's on the side of the Statue of Liberty?
Statue of Liberty. With the statue, bring us your poor, your weak, your pathetic, your cocks. And that was written by Emma Lazarus. What's her ethnicity? I forget. But we can't talk about that today.
Right.
So
we're not going to go there. We're not going to go there.
Anyway, Dom, to your point, yes, I agree with everything you said. It's going to get worse, and it's going to happen to a town near you if it already isn't happening in a town near you. And it's funny because guys like me, Dominic, who carry a gun everywhere they go, and in my truck, I carry my body armor, my AR-15, and my duty belt. Everywhere I go, I have that with me. Unfortunately, there's not enough men like me out there. If there was, these incidents would be taken care of relatively quickly.
This is multiculturalism, Matt, and we have to accept it. And you're a bigot for not accepting it. This is enriching our life here in the country.
Yeah.
And how dare you?
Yeah.
How dare both of you? I think it's a great thing that's happening. This is multiculturalism at its finest, and it's enriching the life there in Aurora, Colorado. And we just have to accept it and roll over and show our belt.
I'm trying to find it. Look, a couple of weeks ago when Matt and I were alone while you were doing your thing, whatever, I had said, I talked about the fact you really don't see too many masculine Jewish sports figures. You texted in, we talked about Bill Goldberg, Max Baer, the boxer, who Cinderella story was based on. And I found a video, I can't remember where the hell it was, where a guy was talking about that. It was like a couple days later. I'm like, holy shit. I have to wonder if we're going to, oh, here we go. This is the video. Jew explains why Jews suck at sports. But he leaves out their physical weakness, but gives another surprising, honest answer.
Someone tweeted at me, "Why are Jews so weak and bad at sports?" Now, does this guy actually believe it? I doubt. He just thought it would get me angry. But what it actually was a fastball down the middle. And so I just excerpted his tweet and said, well, of course Jews don't really participate in athletics. That's what we use to divert the energy of the Gentiles while we take over the systems of power.
So, with that statement, okay, why would you put your people at risk when you have a group of hired dumb muscle, i.e. Venezuelan gangs, at your disposal? So I was legitimately joking when I first said, hey, let's connect it to the Jews, because I don't want to do that. But when you brought up the mayor, to back you up, the mayor's the governor, his last name is Polis. No, that's his mother's maiden name. Now, nothing wrong with that. If anybody knows that, I took my mother's maiden name 20 years ago. Susan Polis Schultz is an author. She's an executive producer and director of the documentary film Anyone and Everyone. The film featured the coming out stories of gay sons and daughters and their parents, and premiered on KPBS public television in San Diego in August 2007 before being scheduled to air on other public platforms. So if he winds up taking his mother's last name, it's clear that his mother's a massive influence in his life. So why would you, again, why work harder, not smarter? Well, we know that, we got these, and how are Jewish boys friggin' depicted? Weak. Woody, what's his name? Woody Allen. When I think of a Jewish man, it's Woody Allen, right? Yep. And I can't picture putting an AR-15 in Woody Allen's hand saying, let's talk about how to rack the slide back. It's like, it's hot in here. I want to go get a bagel. So why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you go and put a gang to use to do your dirty work?
Oy vey.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's you see it a lot, and they do, for whatever reason, a lot of people that are of Jewish ethnicity change once you start noticing things, folks, it's hard to unnotice things. And when you really dig into something, like even Jon Stewart, it's not his real last name. Yeah. Like a lot of these people that have Jewish ethnicities, they hide their last name for whatever reason. I don't know why. Yeah. It's because obviously they're the most persecuted group in the history of the world ever.
Well, again, they got kicked out of 109 countries. Well, 89 countries, 109 times. Some of them were multiple times. And they did it in Spain and Portugal a lot because Queen Isabella II and I think someone else prior to that kicked them out. And they were involved in the slave trade. I don't know if everybody knows this. Anybody can look it up. They were very heavily involved in the slave trade. All those ships were slave ships run by Jewish individuals. And Professor Tony Martin, who is a black professor, I forget what country he's from, speaks with an accent. I think he's passed away now, but he used to do lectures about this, very well studied on it. And he got kicked out of colleges for speaking about these lectures. And I think Cortez. A lot of these Spanish names are called Sephardic Jews. There's Ashkenazi and Sephardic. They changed their name Cortez, Lopez, even Castro, I believe, was a name. They would change it. So they would hide because, again, they were expelled out of these countries. So they had changed their names to blend in. And this is a known fact for decades about this. The slave, they dominated the slave trade. They even write about it in their Jewish encyclopedia and the Encyclopedia Judaica. They openly speak about this, about dominating the slave trade. They used to have auctions, slave auctions at the synagogues. This is a well-documented, well-known fact. So to his point about changing their names and blending in, this happens all the time. Merrick Garland, the Attorney General of the United States, I think that name it has been changed. Right. I don't think that's a real last name. So they do this quite often to blend in. They've been doing it for hundreds of years.
But the goal here, outside of we'll steer away from the Jew talk here, Dominic.
Okay.
But outside of that, you see a push, even from elected officials, especially on the left, and now even on the right. Donald Trump has come out and said he goes, we need more people to come in. We just need them to come in legally. So the right is now pro-immigration as long as it's legal. The left is pro-immigration even if it's illegal. So the idea here is multiculturalism. That's being pushed down our throats here, is multiculturalism. We have to accept every way and walk of life. And when these cultures get mixed, they're not assimilating.
No,
these cultures, these Venezuelan gangs, you think they're going to assimilate? You think they're going to start flying an American flag at their homes? You think they're going to start celebrating the 4th of July?
I don't know if you guys do it. You guys have, I don't know how big your Hispanic community is. Ours is obviously huge out here in the Chicago area. Well, when Mexican independence, what is it, Cinco de Mayo, I don't know if they're the same thing or they're differently, you see the cars and the flags, or flags in the cars, just on the streets, dominating the streets, doing burnouts, taking over, celebrating, honking their horns till 4 a.m. and all this shit. And I said this many times. Trump didn't understand how accurate he was when he talked about they're bringing over rapists. And he meant it one way, and the media should fucking burn in hell for this, because he was actually right. The amount of Mexican men who rape, it's staggering. It's a culturing issue. I believe, you want to talk about cultural assimilating, then let's talk about this for a second. Now, for anybody who thinks I'm racist, go fucking find my content where I talk about, I have a massive soft spot for the black and the Hispanic community when I serve them. The Hispanic community was the most hospitable I've ever fucking met. However, they've got a problem. When they come over here properly to assimilate, it's one thing. When they come over here illegally, they are the most rooted in family. Mom runs a household, pumps out 3-4 kids. Dad works 4 or 5 jobs, all this kind of shit, whatever. And they fly under the radar because they want a better life for themselves. They want to be deported. So I respect the shit out of them by that. They'll do jobs we want as Americans. The problem, and I will say this, Mexican men, drunk Mexican men, will fuck anything with a wet hole. I will say that right now. And if you've ever been in the restaurant industry, you know I'm telling the fucking truth. Now, the problem cultural-wise is this. There was a time, I don't have the information on this, where I believe the age of consent in Mexico was as low as 13. Now you have a culture where it's accepted. When you bring these people to this area and they get what would be a single-family home, their methods of living it's beyond normal ingenuity, right? They could fix a 350 Chevy engine, 350 engine in a Chevy with duct tape and a hammer. It's amazing. They can partition any home into having 2 or 3 families in a single family home. Now you have these men who work 2-3 jobs, and in order to work 2-3 jobs, the abuse of cocaine in that culture is insane to keep them going. Then what do? They come down by getting drunk like crazy. The amount of rape that goes on in those families with either a young girl from the other family that's there or their own daughters, it's so massively underreported because they don't want police involvement to have him go to jail. Now there's no income coming in and the families are fucking deported to Mexico. It happens so ridiculous. So when you just said the culture, Go look at Towns' DUI statistics and see the unbalanced number of Hispanic males who are drunk and arrested because they don't assimilate in our laws. There are no valid DUIs because they don't have a valid driver's license. And the amount of rape and fights is insane. So people don't get this level of non-assimilation. You're 100% correct. That's my soapbox.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. In the age of consent in Mexico varies from different. Mexico has 20 territories, so right now it varies from 14 to 17. But also, what we're dealing with here too, Dominic, is when you're talking about ethnicity and different crimes, and it seems like we're always talking about other ethnicities and races. But you can look at if you want to talk about it, we can talk about it. You want to look at the problem in white communities. They're the main perpetrators of mass shootings. It's usually a white. You look at the Aurora shooting, Columbine, Virginia Tech, you name it. Go Stephen Paddock. We won't talk about the Stephen Paddock thing. Matt and I have our own theory.
Who were the Columbine shooters?
The Columbine shooters were two white kids.
Well,
two white kids.
Were they white?
I believe so. Yeah.
What ethnicity was white?
That's okay. I know where you're going. Listen, so, but you get the picture. You get the picture here. Also too. I was just with a friend here that was he was a JAG officer in the Marine Corps. He just got out recently. He's a captain. He told me that you look at domestic violence. He was doing a lot of Puerto Ricans in the Marine Corps were beating their wives. That's a lot of domestic stuff there. But whites had a problem there with child porn and that you see predominantly white with issues of like kind of pedophilia, which is another topic. But also you have to factor in that the popular science study that just came out here this year, where it talks about IQ and race and ethnicity, at the very bottom of IQs when it came to race were Hispanics and blacks. And you see a lot of crime happen with low IQ. There's many factors from, low income areas, high crime areas. That just goes hand in hand. Now, but there's also a factor there with IQ and education. Those that are poorly educated, those that have low IQs, tend to express their emotions, anger, rage, whatever, through violent acts, which is included in rape and different sexual assaults. It's predominantly in the forefront of blacks and Hispanics when it comes to sexual assaults. They don't know how to control themselves. They lack impulse control in those two ethnicities.
Who else does that? It's toddlers, right? Yeah. You want to take away a kid's thing of Play-Doh, time is up, they throw a fucking shit fit. That's 100% accurate. There's an association between lack of mental and emotional maturity and impulse control, including I'm going to fucking dominate you. 100%.
Right. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And it's the study's out there, and even we talked about this, Watson and Frick, the study they did where, they got disbarred and they got pushed out of academia. They got pushed out of science. Their studies showed that in these groups of blacks and Hispanics, that's a real issue. It's a real problem. The ability to control and have self-control and have impulse control seems to be actually identified within the race there. Yeah. You can't talk about that, obviously, because how dare you, you're racist, but the studies are out there.
Well, Watson and Crick, they were Crick or Frick?
Watson and Crick. Sorry.
Crick. So these guys were the pioneers in DNA and genetic studies. These guys were the top tier in doing this. And they started attributing, certain races, they were doing, research on the races and IQ and tendencies and behavior. And they just spoke about this as a matter of fact. There was no hatred coming out of their mouths. Well, they got completely disbanded from speaking. They got kicked out of universities because they were deemed racist for pointing out scientific biological facts. And that just goes to show that when your nation stops speaking the truth and hides the truth because it might be offensive, that the nation is fucking over. Same thing with this Aurora, these gangs. Oh, well, they're minority gangs. If that was a fucking white gang, they would have been executed on the spot. Mm-hmm. Come on.
If it was the Proud Boys, Boys coming in and taking over a hotel or a apartment complex, you see that for whatever reason they're facilitating this. The government is facilitating this. You look at New York. they're filling up. They're using taxpayer dollars to fill up hotels there. I had a friend of mine, him and his wife went up to New York, and they were like, we couldn't even get a hotel room. They were booked because they were putting these illegal migrants in the hotels, and the government was paying the hotel's not going to open up their doors for free. The government's funding that. They're not just the Ritz-Carlton isn't going to be like, hey, yeah, just take a room, whatever you want. No, those rooms are paid for. Who are they paid for by? Well, it's either the state or the federal government. That's who's paying for these rooms.
Bringing in refugees.
Yeah, and it's supposedly this is enriching our culture. Show me evidence of that. I can't see any evidence anywhere of that. And
It used to be at the turn of the century, you bring people in, but that's also where we had segregation that worked, right? If you go to, you look at it as touristy, either New York or Chicago. Where do you go? Chinatown. Well, what's in Chinatown?
Yeah.
Chinese people. Or Little Italy. What do you got there? Okay. Or other cultures, where Ukrainian Village. What do you think is in Ukrainian Village? Is it a bunch of Hispanic people? So you go where the language and the look are similar and the cultures are similar. Open your businesses and you hope to thrive by attracting other people who want to experience your culture. When you start to force blend shit together, that's where you have a fucking problem. That's where the problems come from.
I agree 100%. You don't see this taking place in African countries.
No.
There's no multiculturalism in China
or Japan.
Well, they're starting to bring in refugees now.
Are they?
Yeah. But you don't see this happening in African countries. You don't see it happening in Israel. They're not bringing in any refugees there. And the number one organization for bringing refugees into America, the number one organization who finances refugee immigration in America, I said it before and I'll say it again, anybody can look this up, is HIAS, H-I-A-S, the Hebrew Immigration Aid Society. Again, 1 degree of separation. So I don't know what to say. People need to wake up to reality, and unfortunately, people are too scared to wake up to reality because of what happens to them. And whenever people live a lie, you must suffer the consequences because you refuse to adhere to the truth.
People don't want to address this too because they don't want to be labeled a bigot or a racist or anything like that. When you address the problem, they don't want to touch it because they're afraid of being called a bad name. They're afraid of being labeled something. So they're just hoping that the men in blue and their government officials will take care of the situation. And it doesn't, there's an ongoing issue. I mean, look at San Francisco. That's a sanctuary city. Sanctuary cities provide no value to this country, none. And San Francisco is historically a beautiful city.
Yeah.
The Golden Gate Bridge, that's too where there was a lot of tech that got started out there. You have Silicon Valley out there, but you have shit on the street. You have syringes laying around. They have places now where people can come in and you can do your drugs. And they had a real issue. They had on their map finder, like MapQuest type of thing, areas where there would be a lot of human feces. They had that pointed out. It's like, what are we doing?
That's culture, dude. How many times have you seen people and you can't, it's not, dude, go to a big box gym. I don't know why we talk about this. You know how many people I hear women coming out of the locker room going, there's an Asian woman shitting in the shower. And it's an Asian culture. Yeah. You got Asian, if you go to a big box gym, you will see usually older Asian men. They don't know what a towel is. They don't want to walk around. They want you looking right at their shit. And you hear the stories of the Asian culture, I don't know what specifically, that defecates in the shower and then stomps it down the drain. So that's a cultural issue. If it's why do we only talk about the good shit, right? We have to have a pride parade, a celebratory. Let's get drunk on St. Patrick's Day to celebrate the Irish. I don't fucking care Mexican independence, whatever. But when it comes down to crime and associating the culture with the crime, you can't do it. You're not allowed to. And going back to this Colorado Aurora thing. Fuck all you cops, man. You already saw they did it during Chaz and Chop. And every police officer there who obeyed the orders of that police chief. This weekend, we gotta let them take over the town. You're useless. You're useless human beings. You should have disobeyed orders, and you should have told the chief, go fuck themselves. We're going in to liberate our fucking city. And if you're doing the same thing again, well, we saw the police will obey like good boys, but they'll terrorize citizens who are weaker than them, who dumbass fly their fucking blue line flag on the car thinking they're going to get support by the police.
Well, let me ask you a question, Dominic.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, at the end of the day, whose fault is it? The people for not resisting and standing firm and being strong? Or is it just the police's fault for just taking orders and taking their money?
100%.
I'm not saying I'm not forgiving the police here, but honestly, at the end of the day, whose fault is it?
So and I'll answer that in a sadistic daydream I have. I do get worried.
Okay.
I do get worried that I'll be pulled over by some fucking cop who can't stand me, and the next thing you know, I'll be put in handcuffs for something, right? Because I know how the game is played. Oh, I smoke cigars, and I smell the odor of cannabis, and even though I think it's legal in Illinois now. So it's like, for whatever reason, will I be pulled out of the car, detained, put in handcuffs? Now, the question is this. Will I allow that? And I do have these sick fucking daydreams where I'm like, I don't know if I would comply. And then we know that the second I don't comply, it's got to go all the way, man. And then when the people drive by and see, I will never, my dead corpse body from the other 17 cops who showed up on scene, because the first 5 were all laid out and incapacitated. I'm never going to tell a story that, no, they executed an illegal search, an illegal detainment, an illegal arrest, and I was standing up for my rights as a U.S. citizen to fight against tyranny. Can't do that. I'll always be labeled the bad guy. And so in my mind, it's, nope, you're going to comply. I'm going to comply. So I'm the fucking cunt.
I think collectively speaking, we all are, right? Me and Scotty Sieverts here, we try and push citizens to stand up for their constitutional rights, just as Jefferson laid out in the Declaration of Independence. And unfortunately, there's not enough people like that, right? If this was the case, then people would be like, we're not putting up with this. I'm not putting up with this shit. And unfortunately, you're right. At the end of the day, we allowed them to get away with all this. And you made an excellent point, Dominic. You said these cunts fly their the thin blue line, right? Blue lives matter, and I back the blue. As a blanket statement like that,
mm-hmm.
I truly don't understand it. I can understand if you have your father. My father's a cop. Okay, I get it. You back the blue. You have a family thing there. I understand that. But how can the average conservative say that they back the blue, collectively speaking, as a blanket statement, whenever we have seen, Dominic, over and over and over again? COVID was the ultimate test. They decided to either do nothing about tyranny and take an active part in enforcing tyranny. How can people back the blue?
Well, Matty, you just don't understand. You got to humanize the badge, Matt, and show me what happened before. People. I've said this one. You've seen that Governor Tim Walz, who in my opinion is a very, very dangerous man. He ordered his state police to go on the streets and fire pepper balls at people who were outside of their home.
Yeah. I saw that.
I think, I'm not going to lie. I would have loved to see people up the block seeing this and to go, nope, step out right with their fucking rifles and end the threat. Because in that moment, the cops were the threat.
Yes.
It's sick to say.
Yes.
Police 100% deserve to be fired on. 100% they did.
Yeah.
Why are law enforcement, especially amongst conservatives, why are they above criticism? Why are they above reproof? Why are they above correction? Why are we having to just back them no matter what? That's the conservative view here, right? Which is, hey, we back the blue no matter what. Is it a no matter what statement? Is that what that is?
Yes, and it's because of how you are. You go to work, you do your job, and then you've got John Doe who's lazy, shows up 10 minutes late every day, does the bare minimum, and we were always raised to think that, well, you know what, the bosses will take care of it, and our performance will outshine them. Never fucking happens. So then we get this resentment built up, and we want something bad to happen to John Doe who shows up to work. They do the exact same thing with law enforcement. You get all these shitheads who commit crimes. District and state attorneys do not do anything to prosecute them. Recidivism rate is through the roof. So now you've got an army of conservatives who they want their anger taken out on anybody, and they want the police to now administer street justice because they're too fucking lazy to do it. They're too lazy to do it.
Yeah.
So that's why you have it. You have a bunch of stupid citizens who sit back and it's the same as football. I could do better. Then I have no idea who's playing now. It's what they do now.
I don't think it's just lazy. I think it's cowardice as well. They're definitely too scared because they're fat, out of shape. They don't train. They don't know how to fight. They don't know how to do any type of tactical firearms maneuvers or fight with, do a fighting pistol or fighting rifle when it comes to gunfights. They're too scared. They don't know how to do. The average citizen doesn't know how to do shit when it comes to defending themselves. I mean, again, I've said it before. They might try and beat up a guy in a bar who disrespects their wife. That is the extent of it. And they're tough online, but it's just like, I'm sick of the thank you for your service.
For what?
For what? What did you serve? How did you serve me? How the fuck did you serve me? There's not one time in my life, and now maybe I'm the anomaly here. There's not been one time in my entire life where a police officer has ever helped me in any way. Zero. They've hurt me.
How dare you? But you can say that too about military service. We always thank military members. I'm a former Marine, but what exactly has the military done to help, say, Matt Wakulik here, get his constitutional rights back? Right? Or his constitutional rights restored? Did the Marines go to D.C. and fight for, say, some of these illegal Second Amendment constitutional violations? No.
Did they fight for COVID restrictions that were anti-constitutional? No, not one time. At least in the 20th century and 21st century, not one instance where the military was activated to fight for constitutional rights. Yet they get sent overseas. Oh, we're fighting for freedom.
You guys
really?
You guys are fucking so sexist and vile. Let me show you exactly what you should be thanking for your service, right? Pay attention. Watch this video.
I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna get sexy. And then I'm not gonna let none of y'all hit. I'm not gonna let none of y'all hit. I might let one or two of y'all can hit. A select group can hit.
You should be thanking this fucking cop who just whored herself up online and does nothing but TikTok videos for her service, because this is what's coming to serve and help you right here. It's fucking insane.
I feel so much better. I feel so much better now.
Where is that? Where
Texas.
Where's she located?
Texas.
Yeah. Well, you know what? This country deserves to get conquered.
The issue here too is what I see. The underlying issue here is comfort kills. People just want their, be able to have a roof over their head, food in their belly, have a paycheck, and they're not worried about future generations like our forefathers were. Our founding fathers were concerned about the future of this country and the future of the citizens of this country. And there's not too many men out there that are going to say, I'm willing to sacrifice my life today. I'm willing to die for my life today for the betterment of the country in the future and future generations, my kids and my kids' kids and my kids' kids' kids, so that we preserve this way of life that we have, which already has been undermined. It's already been devalued here. This country has been not what it was, not what the founders intended it to be.
Yeah.
We're not concerned with future generations. We're concerned with now. Sports ball, pornography, all this other stuff. As long as we got that, we're good. Who cares about Aurora, Colorado? It's affecting me directly.
Fuck them right in their dirty faces. Yeah. But keep in mind.
I was at the gym.
Oh, go ahead. What do you got? No, what do you got?
No, I was just saying, I was at the gym yesterday and I was listening to somebody talk, and two guys, and they're like, yeah, getting ready to do our fantasy football league here in a week. And I'm just like, you fucking cunts. You know, I mean, like, that's what's important to you is your fantasy football league? Ugh.
Just keep in mind, there's around 850,000 to 1 million gang members in the United States, with approximately 30,000 gangs. Gangs are active in all 50 states and the District of Columbia and all U.S. territories. Just remember that, kids. That's
a good show, Dominic. I
not bad.
love Wednesdays. Thanks for having us, man. This was great.
You're welcome.
Yeah. We can go on for another hour.
You're welcome. Sorry. Did you see what I did there?
You thought it wasn't going to be talked about today.
Guys, that's your Wednesday show. All complaints can go to Chelsea at SpreelyTV.com.
Chelsea loves us.
Yeah. Oh,
she
yeah.
loves us.
Oh, yeah, I know she does. I've talked to her. That's it. Guys, have a great damn day. Go over to Spreely.com. Check out everything that the platform has to offer. I know you guys talk all about, well, I'm being censored on this and that. Well, then you're fucking dumb. Support an American business like Spreely, and then support the other shows like the Burn Pit Podcast, live Mondays at 4 p.m., Shannon Joy's show, Report and Opine, Evening Rants, Pete Santilli, and so much more, which is on there. There's also a fast-growing social media platform at Spreely Media where you can say whatever you want, and you do get some people on there who are pretty fucking heavy in their opinions of certain cultures, and it's free speech. I'm good with that. So there you go. Other than that, the rest of you just aren't going to fucking do a damn thing. So, you know, when they come for you, it's your fault. Have an awesome day. Go out and help somebody today. And remember, if you can't help them, just do not fucking hurt them. See you later.
Unless they're a gang member.
Yeah.
Unless they're a gang member and you can hurt them.
That's a very peaceful side.